about James Bond. Yay!
We saw No Time to Die, and
yeah. So I went a couple of weeks ago, and you went a couple of days ago. And I want to start off by giving the opinion of people. Should people go and see it? So the non-spoiler opinion of should they go and see it?
And then you have to kind of cut there, and then we're spoil everything.
Then we're going to spoil.
My opinion is yes, go see it. If you're not a James Bond fan, you can still go see it. If you are a James Bond fan, you definitely have to go see it. Then if you are a James Bond fan, please stick around for the rest, because I do have stuff to say. But definitely, yeah, that's my opinion. What's yours?
Same thing. Absolutely. Everything is there. Everything you want in a James Bond film is there. In the most modern versions available. I mean, they did everything.
They did it all.
Including a little bit of harking back to older imagery and events and all these things.
Nods of the head, and also it doesn't disturb what's going on. The storytelling is super solid.
Yep.
Characterization.
Special effects where they should be in a good amount.
Action.
Oh yeah.
Action. I would say this one has more of a balance between story and action than we have seen some of them.
There's definitely
But it's a long movie. It's like almost 3 hours, so it's a good sit.
Yep.
Yes, my husband was a little like, what, isn't it over yet? No, it's almost 3 hours. It's like, nobody told me. Okay.
Yes, absolutely go and see it. The only thing that, if you have a chance to see the Spectre before you go see this one, probably a good idea. I didn't see it.
If I saw it, I don't remember seeing it.
I'm not sure if you saw it, but I saw it. I have no idea. But it was 6 years ago. So
this movie was supposed to come out 2 years ago. Yes. Well, not quite, but it was supposed to come out a year and a half ago. And a year and a half ago, the world got swept up with other stuff. So they just delayed and delayed and delayed, and a lot of movies got actually put on streaming services and things like that. But they didn't do that with this James Bond.
They didn't want to do that.
They waited for the theaters to go open, I assume global wide. We're in the Netherlands, so it was open here.
Open in the UK. It's a UK movie, so when it was open enough in UK that people could go. So it's been a long time, but I have to say what they harken back to, particularly in the last movie, they actually, you don't need to know that, but probably would have added about a couple of % of plot continuation.
Well, since I didn't remember anything,
and you
I felt, and I don't care. I felt that the movie gave me enough information to start with, and then to go the length of the movie with, and take me along the story. So if I didn't know something, then I guess I missed it, but I didn't feel like I missed stuff. So
yeah, quite. And so now we get to the spoilery part of this review. Okay. If you haven't seen it yet,
Spoilers!
Go away. We'll wait until we come back. Go watch it. Go away. Go away. Okay. So my question is to you: what do you remember? You saw it a couple of days of this movie.
Actual movie.
Of the actual movie.
What do I remember? Well, I'm not an action movie. Actually, I watched a whole lot of action movies all through the 80s.
You like your action
and
movies.
And the 90s. I loved Lethal Weapon. So all of that stuff, fantastic. I pretty much have seen all of the Bonds except for probably the last 4 or 5 or so, which is not a good idea because these are very good. So no, I missed the entire Pierce Brosnan, but
it was good.
Apart from that, so I still have stuff to watch. What do I remember of this movie? Well, I just watched it, so my view of movies is I am not an action geek. I am female, And
That doesn't mean you can't enjoy a good
it
action.
doesn't mean anything, but I'm just putting it out there. So my view is I suppose the women's gaze or something like that. But I look for character. I look for interesting people. I look for an emotional depth to all the action. Because there's no point for the action as far as I'm concerned if there's not like a reason for these people to be doing that.
Quite.
Well, they gave him lots of reason. So it starts off with 5 years ago. James Bond is in a relationship with a girl. Was her name Madeline? Madeline. Well, it's somewhere in here. Madeleine. Oh yes, French. That I like the French stuff.
Yes.
Played by Léa Seydoux.
A real French actress. I looked her up. She has played regular French stuff. She's a regular French actress.
And it was really nice that they kept to the French between her and her little daughter. It was almost entirely French. Daughter's fantastic little actress, I think. At least they managed to get really beautiful, good, appropriate shots of the little daughter. So he's going to marry her, and you're already feeling... this is 5 years ago. He's going to marry her, and you're already feeling like there is something that she's hiding, and because she's pushing him to go to the grave of the woman who died in episode 1 of this set of movies.
In Casino Royale, yeah.
Yeah. And then
he's retired.
Yeah, that part I didn't get. I didn't get that until the very end when he says, "I'm actually retired." This is like 2.5 hours later. I didn't know. But anyway, so
and for extra information, this girl is left over from the previous movie. So
which I probably didn't see.
Which is for me too long ago to remember what she was doing.
6 years ago, people.
But basically, that's where she came from.
But it doesn't matter because there's enough. You're sitting there and it's all being explained. He's in the bed and he's like, "Okay, I don't need to go do this," and she says, "I think you do," and then she sends it. Well, then he of course does what she wants. Which makes like, oh, googly eyes. He loves her that much. So then he goes to the grave, and which is kind of like a headstone of some sort. So possibly cremated. I don't know.
It's
still Italy. It's always Italy where these bombs.
Italy. They bury them in
forever
Italy.
in Italy.
It's a grave.
Yeah. And then there's an attack on Bond, and of course, action ensues. But then you're thinking, ooh, she betrayed him. Because she sent him there. Who knew he was there? Nobody knew he was there. And there's this like super, clear, like from 3 or 4 sides he's being attacked. And he comes back to her all bloodied up and looking all buff Bond. Saying, I think he says, "You betrayed me," or something like that. And I can't trust you anymore, and I have to go. So that's it, I think.
He sticks her on the train.
Yes, he puts her on the train. Nice train scene, very, very Hallmark. I loved it.
He doesn't give her a chance to actually explain.
Oh yeah, she did. She's probably, yeah. So, but it's really not coming back from that. I mean, how can you explain to the guy that you're not the one who betrayed him? Because clearly there's no other way that he can think of. That
even if she convinces him that she did not betray him, it doesn't matter. The fact that she is there puts her in danger, him in danger.
That's the other thing, is that these action heroes can never be happily married.
No.
Even if they retire, they can't be happily married, they can't have kids. And then of course there's like, stuff happens, I have no idea, there's another M, and I will freely admit that I have not researched the previous movies. So we find out Q is dating a guy, which is fantastic. We love that. Not that surprised us after having seen him in that thing with Hugh Grant. It's like, oh, so good. But yeah, great. Then was Miss Moneypenny, new M, which has a name. He has a name. Mallory, which, like, I've never heard M's actual name.
No.
That may have been this movie, or I don't know. So now we're 5 years later, which is kind of nowish. It's contemporary. And then, I don't know what kicks it off.
Kicks it off.
I don't know.
It kicks it off for Bond is living on a deserted island fishing, and Felix Leiter comes by.
Oh yeah.
And tries to talk him into
doing the thing. So that's
coming back because there's something brewing.
That's something I liked about this movie. They really try to put everyone in it that you know and love, and that you've built up sort of like a viewer movie relationship with. And they all get to be in there, and some of them die, which really says end of an era.
No, it doesn't. No, Leiter has died like 3 or 4 times.
Oh.
Doesn't mean anything.
Oh, I liked him, but the guy he was running around with was very dodgy, and turns out to be
very dodgy.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
Bond. I know there was a reason. Something M said that Bond decides to go with them because there's again something like, oh, he's not quite sure if there's more betrayal going on somewhere. I don't know. Don't ask me to remember the whole movie. Then they end up in the lair of the bad guy, and that was nice. Like literally like the Dr. No stuff and all that submarine stuff, and like the secret laboratory, and it was all like. It all really felt like 1960s Bond things.
With the water
style.
and lights sticking out. Oh,
yes, all the stuff and the people in the hazmat suits doing vague laboratory stuff that you never find out what it is.
They're making the nanoids. The nanoids that are programmed.
Yep. Yes, very sad. So that was very sad. And he's got the girl, and the girl has a kid. But by that time, we've already established that Bond finds the girl again, and the girl has a kid. And she says it's not yours, and you're going, well, I don't know, I can count, you know. I think. And he says blue eyes. She said, "Yeah, lots of kids have blue eyes."
I think the reason basically it's the first thing out of her mouth that the moment he sees the kid, she says, "It's not yours." I think the reason she says that is so he can have plausible deniability, so he can actually to himself and to M to say it's not mine. It's not nothing to do with me. Of course. It's not true, and the moment you start to get into genetics, these kind of truths are written in stone, and there's no denying them anymore.
Yeah, the first thing I said was, you do a DNA test, and because if you're a spy, you need to know. But
no,
you probably don't want to know.
It's better if he doesn't know, because then it can't be tortured out of you in that way. That's why.
Well, it got tortured into him. In this one, so that was interestingly done. Interesting bad guy. I'm not much into bad guys, but this one was quite watchable. He grabs the kid after torturing Bond, and then the kid bites his hand, which is like, yes. And then he lets her go, and that part I didn't quite understand why he would let her go, but unless he thinks this is the end as well. Which he was going to, I think, kill in half the world, or
he was going
to
kill
part of the world.
She was basically a dead duck, and I think the film decided that they didn't want to threaten to actually murder a child. They didn't want to do that.
Well, it's a bad guy.
Yeah, but you know the very, 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 very first scene of the movie. That happened with the ice and the other little girl who grew up to be Madeline.
Sure, yeah.
That guy who saved her was this guy. So this guy was into saving little girls, basically. If he's going to kill half the world on paper,
he was going to raise her. Yeah, he was going to raise that little girl, her little girl, so Madeline's daughter.
Yeah. So he's not into
but
killing.
But he gave it up very quickly after only a bite in the hand. So I thought that was a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
strange
I think
writing.
the film didn't want to go there, which I appreciate. I don't want to go there either. I mean,
Okay.
Bond has never been about dead children.
Oh, the other 007. Hehe. Kick
Kick
ass.
ass.
Very kick ass.
Did you notice that they gave this the new 007 the 007 number and took it away from Bond, and then Bond came back, and then they gave, after much to and fro, they gave him back his 007. But they didn't take hers away.
Yeah.
Did you?
I noticed. I no. My remark to my husband at that point was, well, then what she get? Which is she 008 now or what? You know,
No.
what's happening
No,
here?
she's 007.
So we got two 007s.
Yeah, for the duration of this mission, yes.
Oh.
One is
I
Bond
don't-
and one is.
I don't think so. No. That wouldn't be my. No.
I think so. And
No. She gave it away. She gave it away to him.
No, but no, because M moved it long. She approved it, but M did that. So, but with the ending, it is very interesting. Because do you remember a couple of weeks before I went to the movie that we sat down to talk, and I said, well, I reckon about 15% chance I can kill off Bond.
No, I don't remember that. But it's 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 the last one with this guy.
They've never done it before.
They've never done it before. So I think 15% chance was a reasonable estimate.
Yeah, and then is the question, who is going to be the next Bond?
Yeah.
And I think that it's not a question anymore.
Yeah.
I think she
It's
is
the
there.
It's the kick-ass.
It's the kick-ass lady.
Kick-ass 007.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that would be the next. The thing about Bond in all its iterations, and especially this last set of movies, is that you've told the story of Bond many times now, and there's not much you can. You had him as a chauvinist womanizer. You had him as a lovable chauvinist womanizer. You had him as a tough a toughie, but with a good heart. You had him as a suave guy. You had most of them were like static, like you reboot his head every time you see a movie, which is why I didn't go and rewatch the other ones before I went to watch this one, because I didn't expect it to be a continuation of something, because it's never been that before.
Well,
No, less so
yeah.
than more other things. I mean, for other movie series, I watch the entire movie series before I go see the next one, because why not? And then you're up. But I wasn't up for that reason. But so we've now told the story of Bond, the more realistic, how do you make an actual human being with actual feelings work in this situation, and you come to a natural conclusion. His life is impossible, therefore this is the best solution
He's
for him.
always going to die in action, and the only way that you can have a superhero, well, is not a superhero, but he is a superlative hero. In that most people can't do consecutively what he does. So he's slightly more than most humans can achieve. But how do you kill him off in a film properly? Well, he has to save the world. And he does it also for his family, but he also at the same time saves the world.
But now you've told the story, you've told almost any iteration of him, you've told it. It's now time to tell a different kind of Bond in a different situation, a female non-white Bond. Is maybe I don't know if that is possible to have like a whole series, but there's also realistically, every time there's been a really good Bond, the next Bond has problems, and there's only a few movies. I hope there's going to be more movies for the next one, but and also for every Bond they put on, for every new Bond, there's been complaints. So you cannot have a blonde Bond, you cannot have an Australian Bond. They cannot be he has to be this, he has to be that, and
it's
that's
like,
not
who says that Bond has to be white? Who says Bond has to be male? Who says any of this? That he has that Bond has to be a certain age, a certain height.
He has to be a certain age, as in not too
Well,
old,
not too old.
because
But that's not true, because Roger Moore went on for a very long time.
Yeah, but
and
that's
even Sean Connery in the one that he came back in was actually a bit on the old side. So you can
no,
can
you
go
can't.
for it.
You can't because you will physically kill your actor.
So here's the thing.
That's why you can't. That's
Yeah?
the only reason why you can't.
But so here's the thing with this particular Bond movie, is that it was noticeable. It was a long movie, but it was noticeable that there was more. And I said that at the beginning. There's more measure. What is it? The ratio between action and actual drama or scenes that aren't just action was more 50-50. In certainly the recent ones, it's been a lot of action in go. For me, that's not what I watch movies for, but it's certainly a good ride. And they do it very, very well. If Bond doesn't do it well, then who can do it well? But they do it fantastically well. But I like this, and I think this is a good step for... Yes, take the long form and make sure that you have the space in... And also what I noticed for this movie is that not all the action was done by Bond himself. We have action by the other 007. We have action by Felix Leiter. We have action even by Madeline. She does some action. We have some bad guy action. So you can tell that they
and the girl that was
spreading it around rather than it's only focused on Bond and he runs around and does all.
Yeah, and the girl that ran with Felix Leiter, that girl that had like 3 weeks training, but it turned out to be really much more. That was a whole sequence in that was it Panama? Earlier in the movie when they visit the Spectre lair where the DNA sequence is first triggered. So that lady was pretty good in taking over some of the action because Daniel Craig is a little older and he's
already like broken a leg and all sorts of stuff. Doing Bond, so
and basically
you kind of have to keep him alive.
He had already stopped the previous movie because it was too difficult. So you can have any kind of Bond, but for practical reasons, they cannot be too old.
Mm-hmm.
For entirely practical reasons.
Now, can they be too young? I wouldn't say like the Madeline's
they can
daughter,
be too young.
But you could literally go with a 20-year-old. Just enough time to go through spy training.
Why go with anybody else but Nomi, but the 007? Why go with anybody else?
I agree.
Because she's been introduced. There. She has done action. You know, the actors can do the action. She can. You've seen her. I mean, it's basically a showreel that she has in this movie for the role. She should be the next one. Yeah. And I think, and I hope, because if the production has the cojones to kill off Bond, maybe they have the cojones to get her.
I think they have the whatever you need. I think they have. So Nomi is played by Lashana Lynch. I think it'll be a fantastic choice. I'm down with it. I know from having spoken to several people that they are skeptical. I don't care, And what we think and what we want is not going to be happening anyway. It's going to be happening what
they want.
Broccoli, daughter Broccoli. I don't know her first name. Who now runs it?
Yeah.
What
she and they want. But at least it will give us a different narrative, a different story, because her story is going to be significantly different from any white male's story.
I have another problem with that. Her name is not Bond.
That can be fixed.
Oh.
She can take on any name she likes.
Although
I mean,
we
who
don't
knows?
know.
We don't know if the Bond, James Bond is also a moniker and not a name at all.
Yeah.
You know,
we don't know.
It's not going to be on his gravestone because A, there's not going to be a gravestone, and B, it's not going to be on his gravestone.
Yes.
They're going to make him disappear because he's too much of a target, so he has to disappear. And Madeline and the daughter, I think Matilda, they need to disappear as well. Lay low until at least 20 years has gone by, and then come resurface again.
That was another thought I had. Is okay? Could it be his daughter? Because legitimately, she can take his name, etc. We have several problems with that. One, you would have to skip time. Now it's Bond. Who cares? We can do that. Two, you would end up with a woman. Lots of people won't like that, but that would tick like a box of diversity. Three, it would be a blonde woman.
French.
White and French, but that's cool. Well, that might not be cool for the Brits. I don't know.
No, that wouldn't be cool for the Brits.
So you do not tick a lot of diversity boxes by making it a blonde woman.
But with Nomi you do.
But at least it would be a woman.
But with Nomi you do, and you don't need to make a time script. She is there, she is tough, she is younger, so she actually, because you can see that she is less experienced than Bond, but that means that she has an arc that she can go through. She can do learning experience, which is great for character development. And she's physically younger, so she can last for a while. I hope they're not going to take another 6 years to make the next one. I hope that's going to be faster now.
We never know.
But
we don't even know if they've been at it at the making a new movie in this past year and a half that they've had to wait. We don't know if they were in production for anything. I don't know.
No, but the production itself doesn't take 6 years. It's a prep work, and first you have to decide that you want to do a movie.
Yeah, but the question is, have they started doing that?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they have. And I hope it's going to be her, because that is the perfect thing. And if it doesn't work out, like I said, very often after really good Bond, there is a.
Well, they didn't like this one to start with.
No,
either,
they never like
so
it.
It doesn't matter.
The audience never likes them.
My advice to the Broccoli production is just make it. And then make another one, and make another one. Make 3 movies before you even decide whether or not this is going to work out.
The thing about Bond is, I've watched all the Bond movies, some of them several times over, but I don't like all the Bonds. But the production itself, the especially like the special effects, the stunts, they have always been the most interesting, because you can drive a car from point A to point B and you have somebody follow, and that is okay. But how about just putting him and her in a little yellow deux chevaux and make them run down a mountain with her driving instead of him? They make every stunt interesting. Or the stunt where they're at the top of a building and there's a banner on this building and they're being thrown out, and they sort of rip the banner all the way down the building and gently land on the ground. You don't see that anywhere but in a Bond movie. And even if the Bond is not the most interesting character, the stories usually are good-ish, sometimes better, occasionally worse. But at least visually, one of the lesser movies has a tank driving around St. Petersburg, through walls. I mean, what more could you want? So even if your Bond is not your main attraction for this particular movie, the movie itself is, because
always.
This one
you go to a Bond movie because you go to see the best action movie that they make.
Yeah, they have like a chase of off-road vehicles in the middle of Norway. That's great in itself. It was great, and it was well choreographed. It was smartly done. They had, I don't know if you noticed on that scene, They had the bad guys were wearing driving black vehicles, and Bond and the family was driving a white vehicle, so it was very easily recognizable. So the movie is on so many different levels, because somebody who's into cars can easily distinguish which car is which and how it goes, and they have a feel for it. But even a person who does not have a feel for a chase scene like that can still follow that chase scene because of the simple making that one car white or beige. It was beige. It is smart on so many levels, and if you don't particularly like Daniel Craig, it doesn't matter. There's lots of other stuff to like. That makes a good movie, and then you can experiment with killing him off or giving him a baby or making her black.
Well, yeah, and the giving him a baby thing, that was also new. The marriage thing has been done before. The true love thing has been done before, but the offspring thing has not been done. And of course, one would assume that he would have various offspring all over the place. But I think that worked. I think I have not heard anybody complain about the fact that he ended up with a daughter. I've also not heard anybody complain about the fact that he dies.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
have you?
No.
No. I mean, he dies, dudes. What? What are we gonna do now?
Oh, we knew he was not
Apparently
going to come
nobody.
back.
Yeah, I mean that's not that we're not moved, because we are, but
Yeah,
we're not
that's
upset
really-
because we're not worried. It's like, yes, there'll be another Bond, but we don't know what it is. But there will be another Bond. We will miss Daniel Craig.
Yes, he was good. He was really good.
We will see him other stuff.
Basically, this Bond and this movie is in my top three movies and top 2 Bonds. You know,
Okay,
really is.
not mine.
The other Bonds have the problem that some of the stuff is really long ago and has not aged as well as should have. I mean,
Well, that's the thing. Bond goes along with the times. When the Cold War ended, they had to change Bonds to make sure that they could actually, spin a new story. And I don't believe that they actually had to change. They could have gone with Timothy Dalton for the next step, but that's my opinion, and I don't know nothing. But they went for a new Bond to make the step into the new decade of the 90s. Then at the end of the 90s, you unfortunately have 9/11 and all that stuff, and then they had to make another change and say, okay, we can't continue with this style, so we choose a new Bond and we go for a new style. And then the way I remember Daniel Craig's first movies was, especially the Casino Royale, is that you're reintroduced to him. You have this, they have created a style that really evokes the 60s again, and they did that in this last movie as well, where there's like, yes, there's gadgets and stuff, but it's a minimum amount of the gadgetry, whereas in the 90s was like maximum amount of gadgetry. That was a thing, and there wasn't a clear bad guy, but there was in before the 90s and after the 90s, there was a different world where there was threat, so they changed into a new Bond. I personally don't see it in the movies how that actually works, but it.
Well, Casino Royale specifically is very close to the original book. With added new technology, but basically it's pretty much exactly what is in the book.
Yeah.
So you get the whole late 50s, early 60s feel of that book, with the hardness of the way they are, and that's the world that he lives in, and you get all the standard bad guys back, Spectre and stuff like that, who were in those movies, which. In the 50s and 60s, having a bad guy with a fancy name that's sort of passingly resembles maybe something else, but maybe not, was very much normal.
Yeah.
So
and it works. It works. It still works. They can continue to do that. They did actually kill off Spectre in this movie. Did you notice?
Yes.
pretty much like all of it.
They killed off Spectre and Blofeld and basically
so we
they
will need a new bad guy.
But there were plenty of bad guys in the old Bond to pick from if that's what they want to do. They may go a completely different route. If they go with Nomi as Bond, they will have, like I said, a different narrative. They will maybe find a different kind of bad guy for her to fight. Remember smack in the middle of the end battle, there she's sort of holding on to this scientist fellow who made the DNA bomb basically, and he's sort of spouting this racist I can kill any racist, and she just there's a part of her narrative. me too. There's a part of her possible narrative, because that is something that is more closer to her than would be to a Bond. I mean, Bond would definitely
I feel that everyone needs to fight that.
Yes.
So any hero is going to have to fight that.
Yeah, but I like that she's actually willing to, because Bond always did that as well.
He would shoot and kill.
Shoot and kill, but this case was actually preventative, because she could have dragged him with and taken him away, but she chose to do this, and I think she did the right thing, because
these
oh my God.
These spies are in the business of making the world better, and they are not they're not police officers, they are not judges, they don't put people in jail. This is not the world they live in.
No, they clean up messes, and this guy was a big mess
nobody else can clean up.
This was a big mess, and he was going to be a bigger mess if he was left alive.
Yeah. So we, at the end of this movie, we have literally nothing but Madeline and Matilda, and then we have the MQ Moneypenny and our possible 007 in a room, toasting a glass that they filled for James Bond, who is not there. So, what do we do? Where does it go?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see that in hopefully less than 6 years from now.
Yes, it'd be nice if it's like, not that long.
Yes, please. All right. So, I think that's the end of the discussion, I think.
Yeah.
Well, if you liked it, hit subscribe, notifications, something. You know how it works. Bye.